Thank you for joining me. This tutorial is going to be on left-handed knitting. It's the left-handed knit stitch, and this would be the wrapping style or American style. And this is truly left-handed knitting. When you're knitting left-handed, basically you're going to be transferring the stitches from the right needle to your left needle. And please, left-handers, don't let people convince you to learn how to knit right-handed, especially if you're most comfortable doing most things with your left hand. I feel left-handed people are a little bit more ambidextrous than right-handed people because we have to do things like cut paper with our right hands, and there's a lot of different things in this world that are made more for right-handed people. So it is possible to learn how to knit right-handed. I knit primarily right-handed now, ever since teaching knitting. But if you are left-handed, I encourage you to learn left-handed. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start. So this is the cast-on edge right here, and we're ready to knit. So in order to start knitting any row, you go to the first stitch. When you're knitting left-handed, you go in a basically right direction. Go through the stitch behind the right-handed needle. We wrap the yarn clockwise around the right-handed needle. We bring it through the loop, so the left needle comes through the loop. Then we drop the stitch off the right needle. Again, we go into the stitch, wrap clockwise around the back needle, bring that back needle forward, through, and then we drop off. I usually go in, around, bring through, drop off. In, around, bring through, drop off. So if you're truly learning and you're just beginning, saying that does help you. Keep the steps right in your mind until you get used to it. In, around, bring through, drop off. In, around, bring through. I want us to stick, drop off. Bring in, around, bring through, drop off. In, around, bring through, drop off. Now if you start getting the needles close to the edge of that left hand needle, just go ahead and slide them back. You want to knit where you have it looser rather than too tight. I always like to get the stitches back past where it tapers off. In, around, bring through, drop off. In, around, bring through, drop off. If you do not slide it back past that tip, your stitches will get tighter and tighter, and then it gets very difficult to knit. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this decent ways away from the camera. Later on, as I do more, I'll see if I could get someone to help me so I have better shots and better angles. Here we go. So we just finished the first row. And there's our little first row of knit stitches. In order to start a new row, you transfer the stitches with the needle into your right hand, and the empty needle goes to your left hand, and you basically just start from scratch. So what we're going to do, we are going to start over. So we go into that first stitch, pushing the left needle behind the right needle. We wrap clockwise, we bring through the stitch, and we drop off. So I'm just going to continue here. So we go in, wrap around, bring through, drop off. I have the needles kind of an awkward distance away from my body in order to fit the camera here between me and the stitches. Sorry if it's not in the greatest focus. In, around, bring through, drop off. In, around, bring through, drop off. In, around, bring through, drop off, 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 in, around, bring through, drop off. 2 more stitches here to go, and then I'm going to show you something here. Okay, sorry, I can tell that's pretty fuzzy. I'm sorry about that. Now I'm going to show you garter stitch. Garter stitch is knitting every single row. I didn't do this in the right-handed tutorial, but I wanted to show you since I am a natural left-handed person. This here is my right-handed swatch. It's knitting every single row. It's called garter stitch. When you do garter stitch, you see the front and the back of the knit stitches, and this is how it looks. So knitting every row. In this tutorial, I am going to provide a link in the section below in the description to a free pattern that's doing a scarf in garter stitch. It's on a size 10 needle, so it doesn't take too long as far as scarves go. This right here is stockinette stitch. Stockinette stitch is where there's a knit side and a purl side. So in order to get this, you knit 1 row, purl 1 row, knit 1 row, purl 1 row, on and on. Knit 1 row, purl 1 row, knit 1 row, purl 1 row. So when you do that over and over, what happens is all the knits are facing one direction and the purls are facing the opposite. This is the purl side, it's bumpy, and this is the knit side. Now the reason I'm wanting to show you both of these, we'll see if we can see it. I'm hoping you can see the difference. Do you see the stitches on the left and the stitches on the right? The stitches on my left in this piece that I'm moving back and forth, that is actually my left-handed knitting. My left-handed knitting is actually much tighter than my right-handed knitting, and I think it looks better personally. Even though I knit primarily right-handed now, I really love the tightness of that and the consistency of my left-handed knitting. Some projects I will do in it just to keep my left-handed knitting skills up to par. But I just wanted to go ahead and show you both. I'm going to be showing both swatches again in tutorials soon, talking about gauge and the importance of gauge. Now I'll show you the stockinette portion. The stockinette portion is a little bit cleaner, a little bit tighter. My right hand knitting over on the right side here, it's a little bit looser. But I just thought it would be nice to show you the difference. Now that I've done that, we're going to go ahead and do 1 more row of knitting. So, starting off again, we put the needle with the stitches in our right hand, and we have the empty needle in our left hand. We take our left needle, we go in, around, bring through, drop off, in, around, oops, dropped it off a little too early, bring through, drop off, in, around, bring through, drop off. So when you do knit, try to slide it back and forth a little, so that way you're ensuring that you're getting it at least past where it tapers down. I would rather have you err on the loose side than err being too tight. When you start off really, really tight, it is a pain to get into those stitches, and it really is fighting to get every stitch complete. And I find that you learn best when you can keep a steady rhythm going, and once you don't have to think in around, bring through, drop off. That is when you are really going to get some momentum and you're really going to start going, and that's when you start seeing things look even and consistent, is when you don't really have to think about each of those steps anymore, when you're not separating them but you're just going smoothly from stitch to stitch. That's when everything gets nice and consistent. It's much easier to get to that point if you don't have to fight. So go ahead and try to slide it back and forth, and just so you're not fighting with tight stitches. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.